What prime trendy so ameni ma pound fie besim konya ne de nsam a wonte aba eni kasa we sanso mu ne se prime trend dwumadie mu no afa ba bi wo a obesiria eno nti na mse hia me adwo adempo meni ma pound fo e wo Ashanti Prime TV clock it.
Tears of joy. So we say we are the tears of joy. And Bishop Dr. Kojobua and the Debra Ashanti Prime Television. So 11 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. Edua Debia. The pastor Bomodi Nakatirobi, Nafrobi, no Bizun Kanchirobi said Bishop Dr. Kojobua. Wabetina say Ashanti Prime Television. So Enyas and Ketua Crowd. Did you media to the say tears of joy? And yadi ebrewo me say ebre no eyebrebe time no time be anajo 11 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. and paibo be yadwuma papa wi anu onwe ono betena se aye one-on-one counseling ai na me minimusran wo Bishop Dr. Kojobua Sunti no nya na akokan wa asem o dabi otina se na awurade afa no so na wayi enkonua bi adawo so e de afrius abusiafo ye papa bia papa ebutu eye na sorry a me pacho sokoban ampa me ai sokoban ampa me IBM filling station hona eho na papa butu sokoban tienie sokoban ampa me eho na papa ewa odini dwumadie enyina bomoden ai numbers na ohu etwagu ewo kasamfoni na se no fa papa number no na enene twetwe nkomo numbers na etwagu no eye papa number no fa na ne papa eni nkomo ofre no a ono na befa 101 no ono adi nkomo ane tears of joy na watch me so say me so me breni kama me tie tears of joy me so watch so ofio say me so me breni shalom peace bye bye macro
Odi Solomon Opokuni ye freduma ba fie die ne be TV a obeka nsem papa a kire yen no ba me yehunu no papa ekoso ewo wiase tese pe TV papa ne tie nsem pa ewo kroyi mu dia ye fanto ba biase Ashanti Prime TV e wa na me hwele de bia entiso fa TV na to Ashanti Prime TV. Keep watching Ashanti Prime TV. We love you all. God bless you.
Ashanti Prime TV. Aha, and I'm not carrying the wall. Ashanti Prime TV. Aha, and I'm not carrying the wall.
Abusha me ma wache e ma wakwa eba Ashanti Prime TV. Jumedi ayatu ni din anopa tutu so. Abusha e morning show jumedi aye de brel. Aha ne yeka Ghana nsem, yeka amayosem, yeka school sem, yeka akwani ebedie ho nsem, yeka mrahye bedwam, yeka akwantempon ho nsem so. Yeka yaresabia ho nsem. Aha ne yeka Ghana ho nsem nyina. No krewom they no crenim maybe am throwing that yeah the evidence any fact ebe kama bom aya analysis ama wa obeti ase aha eya Ashanti Prime TV jumedi aya to ne dia no part 22 abusha me na me di jumedi enwu chia me ye frame Sam ba Ike jebre neti anopa 22 abra aba no pa no num ekosi se nondu ebebo no morning show sonkwa Ghana ina etie eya anopa 22 abusha for aha eya Ashanti Prime TV na wonim say ye ka se Ashanti Prime TV dia na chese ha na no kre no ewo
Ashanti Prime TV soon small figure in the building so pa dwumu yansa TV station we share football one ma and one Ashanti Prime TV watch don't sleep don't be quiet go and watch you will feel good I love you so much soon small figure Ghana hofe
Ashanti Prime TV. Aha, and I'm not carrying the wall.
You didn't come over your fear and conquer me as yet them any empo yesukum. San commodity when you're able TV so. Na ya baby didn't come to show away any direction be a young como na yedi a asem and a yeka ye echo so our boom a become politics kakra a become religion kakra a become entertainment kakra any day I can I was here. So we are new to me, so what talent to be a ever from now yet to me any wedding come near and so at the account. Jumadi ya mi bohu de ruachrewe the pod show. The pod show a social discussion. Ya babehwe nia ya tackle societal problems, challenges nipa ewo masitinem. Pod show is a public discussion space for social challenges, a platform that gives voices to everyone. I mean everyone. Right. Na yendi yeni din komo na sa session bi a Martin din wachigu ho no. Eho mebusa won sama wani na so say mebusa eho ana be expose eho ana be kire say wachigu ho. Enti kame ho na hwe me solo base. Na yendi jumadi we efia da bia 5 p.m. Ashanti Prime TV. Ashanti Prime TV. Aha na nakware no wo. The post show me no mi no nkomodi. Bedasi.
Ashanti Prime TV. Aha, and I'm not carrying the wall.
Asante your mind. Ni sentina Ashanti Prime TV. Edi media waso sonko bi ebaso. Ni atoni din say Spotlight Hub. Any trending issue. Me wasonfo. Genial Diamond. And I'm di media ebasomo. Ejada bia. Eni wokuada bia. 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Na media shisha subutu. So ye up and coming musician, actor, actress, empo, social media influencer. Don't hear any say obefa number na. Ejego screen nasino. Friend, nani endin sa wasway. No be yet dachi enstroma. Spotlight Hub media yisudie. See release interview. Na se eshemumpoa. Ubetu. Ashanti Prime TV. Aha, enane kreno. Ewo.
Ashanti Prime TV and I'm telling you no boy Magi Mega ye do ha say to dia na ye nsem akese nko a se wo pe nsem no kore atie ana wo pasem papa I wo Ashanti mem Ghana mem be bia wiase be bia atie dia hwe Ashanti Prime TV ho ne no kore no ewo me see Ashanti Prime TV so pe so tie news pa ana wo pe be bia asem ma ye ka no unkobusu obi na ope nokure wo mu a hwe Ashanti Prime TV nokure no ahanko ana wo
Ebusian for me the Queen Amadi Miss Culture Global 2025. Keep watching Ashanti Prime TV. Ashanti Prime TV there aha and anokre and all.
Ashanti Prime TV. Aha and anokre and all.
Action media audition yeah audition kesiye bi our action media yeah series kesiye pa obi anfa ne hunyim we ye panyino we ya kwada o emrante ne maba ni nyina ye hia obi bia action media ye series kesiye ade abegu Ashanti TV so obi anfa ne hunyim boy mi gina mu bi obi anfa ne hunyim frɛ number na ye twa agu ate no me see frɛ number no thank you
Ensem bebre ne akoso ewo yemmem ha enne nkofo amanso empani se ade achi na se yanti asem fufra enne na yachi na maybe so what in ye akoso social media ho be kire abefo
Ene binadama achibo so many days so me ensan ewa fimpimienu ene aduenu ensiemu Premotobre ewa Ashanti Prime TV so emra so sensema mensa kan ewa my Ghana ne amahodo so ni edika edit yosemufu agina ntenten no akruchi edi agukata so edi ama mede ba besom wo se prime ewia Premotobre Kaseɛ ense mewia mede ba besom mo no edosu ye ni edi makuti ni bi enie Ghana Mampen His Excellency John Dramani Mahama imprempren ya de wakwa kopie mu ewo Tanzania san so ena ye mra shebejani edema ofo ase eyurebi ye nmunyamfo kojo opon kroma akasa eye guta enso edinsem bi aso abontene nsem wei ene nsema odo pie kanam de ba besom mo ewo Kaseɛbɔ kwan so mi amaje pene de awia Kaseɛbɔ besom edin amege so ene miss now start mi twa me hotel abasisia Mesa insra mu akwa babiem edi aba Ashanti Prime TV so afeji bro ne yemonsem no mu eyesuko yenhyase ewo His Excellency John Dramani Mahama akachi ene imprempren ya de wakwa akopie mu ewo Tanzania ne butaye enyina ne se bese mfie aduonu nie na mpanifo dan dwumadi edin eda so eye Africa Court on Human and People's Rights na chese wo share se obia efa ahudie eye bibre mama na ma ahodo so obia entieti obia efa ahudie suo na no ada na eye mfie aduonu nti ne wo hye hofa ewo Tanzania nti Ghana Mampen Excellency John Dramani Mahama ekopie mu ne bro ekopie mu honom no na wo san so ekasa ene mpanimfo ede ato abontene se ye amanama ahodo mpanimfo na wo so wotena se na woto ato adwene sere adwene ho hwe kwan obefa so na ebibre amanama ahodo nyina ebetumpon
was that period from the mid to late 70s until the early 1990s when the brain drain occurred and the continent stagnated. The median per capita growth of developing African countries at the time was 0.0%. We felt the loss of those who left to seek better opportunities for themselves and their families. These were ordinary people from all walks of life, like architects, doctors, engineers, artists, business people, bankers and workers in the transportation and hospitality industries. Excellencies, honorable judges, imagine if Africa measured its wealth not by our natural resources, but by our people, valued individuals, free from oppression, conflict, persecution, and violence, and assured of the right to a life of dignity, liberty, and self-determination. What would that look like? How much differently would we see ourselves? What would that wealth mean for the strength and continued sovereignty of our nations? These are not just questions for a game of what if. They are based on the reality of Africa's near future. These are questions we must ask ourselves as leaders and citizens to determine the nations we are building and the world we wish to create for our children. By 2050, Africa's population will reach 2.5 billion, and more than a quarter of the world's population will be African. By the end of this century, nearly 40% of the world's population will be African. Already the median age of the African continent is 19, compared with nearly 45 in the European Union and 39 in the United States. Can we imagine the power we hold in our hands? Technological advances have made the world feel like a small place. At no other time in our lifetime was that more evident than during the COVID-19 pandemic. By the time the World Health Organization announced the discovery of a new virus in Wuhan, China, that virus was already on an aeroplane to Johannesburg. It was already present in Accra on the roadside as individuals waited for a trotro at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, or seated towards the rear of a daladala en route to Ngaramtoni. If you look beyond Africa, what you find is that that facade of the so-called global north, a group of countries that have long held themselves up as beacons of democracy and human rights, of liberty, justice, and the rule of law, is fast crumbling. Judiciaries are no longer independent. Citizens and lawful residents are being disappeared by masked law enforcement and then placed without due process indefinitely in detention centers. We see executive overreach and a steady weakening of legislative independence. For far too long, we compared ourselves to the West and used what we believe were their standards as our benchmarks for all our endeavors. The reality we see today should serve it.
Now, Chairman and Ghana man penning His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Ede, a State of the Nation address, a besom my Ghana dishing and a penny power that a year guta, a Ghana Union of Traders Association, a Jedi Phone Kabum Ku, Union for Clements, Boating Akasa, Ediatua Bontenese, Emmer a year for 2024. Abra na obia manuku na hudu obia ye campaign na yade His Excellency John Dramani Mahama eba wo makati bebisa ye eye niema omo nso omu hia na senyame aduna senka wo ba ben mu awode e de amom nyankopon ya adoma mannei His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ba be na no wakasa e de ato abontene se wo hwe pa e omade de omade to aban nanim e ya afi 2024 nyina e yade State of the Nation address aban rekasa fa ho e na wo twetwe mu no wakasa edifa niema eye edwadifo retu nanim nyina emu fana nsugusu a woye hu edwumenti yade aban na yade yie pa wodanase
ye hwenim se obeka bibia fa yenuanom a last week on ekodiuja ewo Burkina Faso a atorenchem ekoto won no na nti obehwe a eno oka ho asem afenso no na ye hwese obeka bibia fa the women bank say bank no astati eye adwuma ye ma no betimi akoho akojisika e de ahye won dwam nti na ye hwese no nso no omampanyi be den e beka ho asem che no so ye den o ka ho asem se o want to niema enche bia sa women's bank ne be start ye den aye adwuma nti na ye sign so ahwe nim bio se obeka bibi nso afa the 24-hour economy no so ehun asem because and also ya dey guta yene the 24-hour secretariat no yene won edi nkomo bebre ye hwese implementation be den e be start na nia na ye hwe ni ma komampanyi ye hwese obeka ho asem wanka ye duty ehun asem yeah because ansa na ye beto aba no one ye be hia ma ye keka duty ho asem na wo hwese say the duty regime na ewo ho say na hydrogen kakra nti ye a total overhaul and as a total rationalization of the duty regime ti no nanka ye hwese omampanyi ebeka ho asem but no wanye den wanka ho asem temi reti omampanyi a memmo omampanyi 7/10 because ya man mandate of 4 years say obetra Ghana akonya no so na Hresenia Ghana beko afaz minim se sam ren so aka no so no obeko so aye den atoso niema na ansa no de ne time no be wie no san ensem ya obobo so nyina no ebetimi aye den abam na Ghana aye den afa
so kopie mu e wo mrahye beje fie e wo abedwaku a eba no se wo man bia na se mpanimfo bi bisa sika e de afiri aban ho so de yempuntunyuma ye wo abedwaku a wo hwe wo ho no ma wo hwe se sika na so ne wakasa edi ato abontene wonimonyamfo eyekwadwo opon kroma mrahyebeje ni edema ofo ase eyobi yade woka sa abedwekuo yi hu binene wakasa edi ato abontene se obi etumi kasa se mepe pesika edi aye kwan eni se na wonimonyamfo nso ohwe o man sika semso beten sika edi amano nso osusu se wona eji sika no yesika ni nyina no wode eyempuntunyu mebi mu edi sika ni bi hye omu botoma omu hu bebi sika na fenti se no ade abedwekuo ye behye adan kwan foforo kro befa so edi sika ama mpanimfo no de ayempuntunyuma e wo mantem ne mensi ne ahoduo mu.
We've given to this bill is the no plan no cash bill. No plan no cash. If it's not in the plan, you won't get any cash. But projects or programs that are as though they are part of their normal work, except that they have not been certified under the National Development Planning Commission's plan, which they would have received from the ministries, departments, and agencies. And so this amendment seeks to deny the Ministry of Finance the opportunity to fund. The object of this amendment bill is to deny funding for it until such a time that it is thought of, captured, and certified as part of the National Development Planning Commissions. Our hope is that we will find the best way to close this loophole so that every cedi that is spent of our limited resources is in pursuance of the National Development Plan, which would have been certified by the NDPC.
By amending the PFM Act, the bill would, among other things, make development plans duly approved by the NDPC the mandatory basis for the preparation of the annual budget. It also requires publication of annual progress reports as a precondition for the inclusion of estimates in the budget and for the issuance of expenditure warrants. It seeks to empower the Minister for Finance to withhold funding from non-compliant entities. And it also seeks to ensure that releases from the DACF is tied to NDPC approved plans and progress reporting.
My dream is that one day we'll get to a point where this National Development Planning Commission is really a technical commission that we all hope it should be, devoid of all the politics around it. How do we get to a point where any government that comes into power can work with the commission that exists? I hope maybe there have already been some behind the scenes engagement to make sure that we deal with this politics.
Adeshimaiba yento Kaseɛbɔ so ani esanso ekoyi ntia kwa kwahwe State of the Nation address year 2026 His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na wochi twemu o present Edema Ghana de yine ne kopie mu e wa abose kan ye wona eton spare parts omo so akasa e de ato abontene se so hwese de sesei no eye car bo aba form obi obeka se Ghana ha sesei aka ebo aye din bia no na wompe pen wompe aban na nsema na asamanyo sem no ye ne se ye kase ye ka no kore paadia na eyade aban na mesidi na nya bo odi kodwama nso esidi nya bo yie pa nti eyade aban na ayade no mo bompa ye pa se ye mfie mienu aka eda nanim obehwe na niema akoboko sede eye mfie atwam no akono
first you two at all only hard because on say omo benchmark bi wo ha threshold no 200,000 na ya idibia no ye dodo na ye sheda niskasa entino say obi on turnover 1 million Ghana cedis na threshold no 200,000 no obi on na ye no ni turnover no 20,000 per na won obi a ni turnover ni 1 million 2 million na no say yes na sisi wo enti o shey bo so ba de be ya oba make sure say obi adwuma fofora obetuma fa nkofo dodo na wa meet unemployment target no it will be an also okay there and the doctor to forcing fa budget we na system tax net here no na yi threshold no na fa ko 750,000 na me ma no o mu di dwa no yo mu frim no mu ha o mu saka ya de pressure was on a few so ono no your money 90% because the tax there need to ya it is a be man 100 man 90 wa ya de wa yi efisa o ha onimu na o share boss oba o make sure dollar no o say we did not arrest the dollar but rather we strengthen the what the cedi the cedi to fight against the various currencies no once what dollar na obetimi afiri sa dwane ko ba ne mo wusika na ye wo de ye cedi no eso man nya hodin onu nya hodin na kasa na be bon ka nka na ka nyina sa na ye koso so for man 100% 1 year no when it comes to the sika sama 100% because sa cedi dollar differential so no anema fuel bibia import duty and obi oyika bia be ka chero obi bia o memu be ka chero se car
yento akase ne so e wotem akopie mu e wo ho no ma e yade a mpanyimfo bebre aka bom akasa e de ato abontene se eye Ghana man panyin dada bi eye onmunyamfo na so sajefo Dr. Kwame nkroma ya adua na na nisu ani hunu pa so oman Ghana mu ase okopie mu ewotema obesi eye shipyard kase pa na kire se eye ship bia ehiensiesie honom na nkoba abeye no nanso mfie bebre nie na mpanifo ato wona adwenim afa project yi we ne mpanifo akasa e de ato abontene se His Excellency John Dramani Mahama e de nhyehyɛ pegu akwam se wonhwe ne wonyensiesie ye obia ye ho se de be ya amanfo betumi afi won man so aba besie won ship ewotema ewo Ghana ha sei.
Do my use bebre wa woman of the buy 1965 abaya bako obia to be replaced bako kwampo. I assure you that under President Mahama and his government we shall replace these cranes. Now company now are more efficient. Mo be one say gap price machine modeled by 1965 come time and it's the biggest in West Africa. Inti ejuma ho say be na ye no answer na be board no so no na ya ma ship and dog aye agabehwe in Africa ye de ani ato koko ne ko so it's a we are say edwa no se makoko ba fuma go the ba fuma na hwa kire nti dry dock we was see no ejuma no se kwaso pa shi se beba no ebi aba $2 omo twa cedis na sanka ejuma no kwaso yiye na de bia shi se ba you are printing gold I say you are printing sika you printing dollar board no e dey see in so say answer na be fi board so no na di massa e mo gide say buy mama buy ba boy ama juma e dey see in so be to aboa very grateful
when we took over power, I was welcomed by reptiles. A place where you can find reptiles is mostly in the bush. There have been some improvement. Now we thought through all the facilities that we can see. Areas that require immediate fixing is what we have done to be able to keep up with the pace of our current operations. So we went into the pump house. The pump house, according to ASL, the recommendation was that it was not fit for purpose. The rehabilitation is ongoing and it is almost about 80% completion. At the hearts of the dock, that is dock 1, when we took over there were not even stanchions. Stanchions is the basic health and safety that has been done. Dock 2 was not operational for almost 3 years. When we came into office, within 6 weeks, we've been able to fix, and the first beneficiary has been the GPHA. They have been able to service about 3 tugboats, and we've gotten some other vessels from the fishing harbor. We have done about 9 since 2005. The equipment has always been, if you look at the giraffe crane that Nkrumah put in place, it's almost about 60 years or 50 years now. What is important is that we require those equipment to be able to
na mampanyi eyonmunyamfo Felix Ofosu Kwache ne wakasa e de ato abontene so de aseda sonkopa ekọ e de amagana mampanyi His Excellency John Dramani Mahama say kwansi esi edwumedi a wafa e de ato ne ho so wa mebi eso na adehye omwo eye aburu asebu eye kwaman kese se wo hwe na ekwan a enye na aban aba aban ko na aban bi aba na wayi nani efiri so mfie nwotwe etwa mu na aban bi antimi ansha mampuntunyuma ankoso a His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ene washa contract so won famfidie ensha ase wo kwan ni siesie so na yade ode aseda sonko ekodi aman
265 communities year 2020 campaign na kala mu use no wa say because na akwane ye we bubu kra because the roads were terrible. It's America say there are about 4 or 5 roads important major roads here you hold. Ekoyan the capital or abroad pa ibo hu de make us a contractor or that 7 kilometers of road for here. I'm the why I come we drains no crama we begin earthworks here. Say kwama mu kroma Bakampa junction to or Bakampa township. Ehu there there's a contractor working on that road as well. Say eko oye amosema MBB award contracting but contractor ni we ntua ka nti bonus the project stalled. Now saying you to me any contractor need to come on agents also man make us say wa back to the road that or you hope there by I think on you to you good ma why ka bo hwe nyame adoma ochina be da so bobo foma bonus ya cut short for oye ofi asiebu Captain Bremso offer Putubu in Apusika or 12.1 kilometers of road. Also, in fact, contractor was possible or minor works. You can't sort the year. When you see she will move into full swing
na wetu na wewie ono echi no ekọ oye mowi a ekọ bi da between Yamransa na mowi also architectural route ọkọ mowi health center wa into mowi township and also contractor or that on the wire a significant portion of the work I do Bogudu Keke. So these are 5 routes in the first year of NDC administration, in the first year of my tenure as MP. There are other routes. It beats there, Mofi Oye Afenwa Junction. Offer Oye Olutiabom, Olutiapoko 1 kilometers. Also, bonus a good year package. Yes, Mama contractor.
Musumi Chemu and a better abontin say a gamanche enyakwa akwenshia eye ken eye taki ke kotu the second when ya akwenshia na nanam so ama ene nyankopon ayadom ade ahoden aba ama National House of Chiefs omonso akwa no say bia no da yaresabia no na no pese wo ba honum nso no osusu ese wo ba fie mu ma no makwa akochia no mko ye nso oma anko ne se akomuko ekugu nsa edema nananom so omonhwe no omunua eye ken eye taki ke kotu the second eye gamanche omunua woko eye National House of Chiefs ehono nananom nyina enhwe na ne ho ento ne se de be obitimi aba be company fo ho no wasan so edi wondwuma abom fefefe
so Chiefs na owo me no ba nyina so ye ahemfo na members of the Council of State nti yete so nya accident no na nkemprempre be se ba no the hospital yete so aba fie na na yese ye ba na ya ba chia no na ya hye ne den se Yankopon ema ne ho ento ne ntem na o meka ye ho ne fa mu man no
ajegbe ahala mancheme ke manye ni ameba na machu ne keni chimone ke ha Council of State members efe ni efiema ke oye mangni ochuni ojogba mofiamo yo dasi yo kenoko saoye menwohe na ke esa amehu ame ni o ameke twijron ke solemo ke faipamo ke shida ke ha yehoa di noni ha amefa amenaji ke babi enwenene road signs ni sade mamoshi ne ha driver sa na ke o biene obakogo biene ya ekole dokenya left and right lo noko alo ekole marking spot na fe ni twa ke bole ne eni sanu nyene alo eni sake ochone
ene ye hwese de wiase ekone yade artificial intelligence utility ya efene se eye AI na afenso abefo kwanya ye faso ye nema bebre na eji wiase aboso ene na nam so ama deputy minister for tourism culture and creative arts eyoni monyamfo Yusuf Isaka eye jaja afasa akwan no su kopie mu ewo na bato mpesu aso eye aya waso north eye adehye wo honum no wapempanimfo se wonye wo no nkyerɛkyerɛ ewo kwan obefa so obe use AI na afenso computers se de be ya ebeboa na obetumi di aye adwuma ewo mu se ade bia no bone ananse bonyo no etare ho de nso obesere se papa no ene wo kyerɛ adehye wo honum na bone a AI yetumi die na afenso ye de computer bone a yetumi edidie no wohwe se won kyerɛ omo na daachi bia ne ko ba se wiase esesa na bibia abeye abefo niema adehye wo eye aya waso north omo anka echi
intelligence artificial intelligence abefo technology eba eboa ni peye na me catch am say artificial intelligence no ewo ne nsonso ewo ne benefit so time a computer eba foforo no ebi mu say hey computer be ma ya lazy computer e di be ye nema bone ne nema but enne na kopon da roma I am computer on the negative side or on the positive side. By any neighbor dancer say computer by an abwa the positive side no adults on the negative side no. And AI by nipa be break kasa no so emboa the laziness beba the say beba. That's an so use computer as an example. AI no ne benefit a de beba no e bedos on change the negative no but as youth no ye from say mo use AI no enkoye ne mabone emom use AI no enya ade a ebeboa wankasa enya ade a ebeboa ye man Ghana Salafest will come on in the next 2-3 weeks time
But at least as part of the celebration, we are organizing this exercise, at least to also build the capacity of our youth in the community. Yeah, share 250 for the next 14 days. Free. Secretary Womo, ma Febi. Anything I got so you was sponsors. Obia Abimoa Omo Febi. Ministries and Hondo agencies and Hondo Ebum, we are free. And I know, say, if they appreciate this, they will go in to even do more.
Program we I program Fufua Aba we say. And so say introduce no idea say youth in Koda afe na omu ba no idea say omu sua sena dachi ebe boa
na view eyokura ewo upper east region ene okopiemu ewo honom a adehye ewo honom enso ano demu ha onyina ene se bridge ewo honom firimra eye bridge ejurigu ye empenimfo ahye omobo wo ho bebre we ba ena meba be ye bridge yamamo nenso obehwe na ayekoye sebi adanko dada adwe empenimfo no eyiwo mani anaso mobubu nnua de ogu omasum efa bridge no ntom besre empenimfo siesi nsutobre mu aya na adehye ewo honom no omumfa na hongodo sokra ya na enemu modern edimo omisan se bridge na eduregu ni nto sere mpanimfo se wonhwe na omekọ womwa e wo bridge nsem no
Sutwabra gise ebedu ya fa enuoma no mienu ye bedu na ya woro baako akyekwere na ya woro ka pantes day na ya wuro nsuo no mu na ya pie ye dura na ya woro no na ya sen ho e wo nwura mu ha na ya kọ eduru ba bi a nsuo ni timi fa ha nyina wontimi nduru abobo wo ya no mpo asa waka se wo twom akodwom ese ho so na ikodwo na ya sempo afiri ho ye teku firi ho ye nkwala o mbedwere semina ho o musku atare e wo dwom ho ese bridge ni buye no ye ntimi nkodwom ye duru Sutwabra na edwom kwa na aboyen de ye mba bedi kra na e problem aye omobo mo so mbekura bridge na maye ye di omochi saa bre
ye firi menu bi wo mu firi busu ye ba ye ntimi ntwom ye kọ abre ne ye bre papa say ye vote awie but obi ambu ye say ye nipa ye gina ha no say aduri saa tam no nsuo ba duri nsuo ta totam na ye ntimi oba ye lekurampo ana wu nipa ubawu kurampo ye nya nipa de oba de ne motokia kurampo won ntimi ntwom.
When the rain season come, it will affect me, to affect some of community people here. The rain season, the children cannot go to school. When the rain fall, you yourself cannot cross unless the child too will not cross. So we plead the government, beg him, to try to come and fix the bridge for us.
His response gave the assurance that definitely work will be done on it. But that is always one thing about it. Listen, yes, there are so many problems, but the resources are not enough. So if it's not done in the first year, we are in the second year, we have a third and we have a fourth year to see. It's very possible, and I'm confident that within the period of the 4 years that the NDC will do, something will be done about it.
Prime area Premotobre Kaseɛbɔ eno ne gusu a wo hye ye to ansam ne so a ne ye fi oman Ghana ha ne ye tu fa akwa kopiemu ewo bi man so ye nhyase ewo Kongo ne kopiemu ewo Kongo man panyin a wo ho me ye no monyamfo eye Dennis eye Sasu Ngesu ne wakasa e de ato abontene se eye bra wo bre ne mpanifo ahodo aka omo bre pesika ayi esiesie Kongo man ni nyina no eye de opese mabunu no eti ase esenya de ono obekoso ayo man panyina akosi wiase awieye nti bra mo bre echa kwan pade ato no mama mabudu no behwe se mabudu no nso nkeka won ho no momo aban no se de be ya emre ni dru won so so won so ba be di Kongo man so a enkoye san ho kire ebesan so abo man no mu biem.
Dulisi, Sasu Ngesu said the current leadership is laying the foundations for young people to eventually take over. We want young people to understand that all the work we're doing is also to prepare the conditions for their arrival, because we will not remain in power forever and their turn will come. We were young as well, like them. They need to train themselves, they need to learn to work hard. Addressing criticism over poverty in the country rich in natural resources, the president rejected claims that wealth has been squandered. We cannot say that people are below the poverty line while resources are abundant and have been squandered. No. Or even wasted. No. They have been used to bring the country to its current level. One, it did not have all when our country gained independence.
À son niveau actuel, il n'avait pas du tout.
Nearly half of Congo-Brazzaville's 6 million people live below the poverty line despite significant oil revenues. The president also responded to questions about 2 former presidential candidates who remain in detention after being convicted of undermining national security. They are not going to die in prison. One day we will release them. But they are not opponents. They are young men, collaborators who tried to embark on an adventure that did not succeed. If re-elected, this would be Sassou Nguesso's final 5-year term under the constitution. It declined to name a possible successor.
Yes, this one here better so it will be new hopium na ade and they are buying edisika 30,000 euros aboy ya posifo obini abaso ye pa esanse wo hwa eye nkofo bi eye wona dwen so behwe ama aban tungu akoso e wo beni ne nso yade aposifo ne te ne ntem eyi mpanimfo sutire ma otumi eso ano entem nte yade aban afasa eno so ede 30,000 euros abo eye aposifo na baso.
Nation have issued a wanted notice for 9 people, including the operation's suspected mastermind. Information that leads to their location carries a reward of more than 30,000 euros. The failed coup targeted President Patrice Talon and his government, who the rebels accused of mismanaging the security situation in Benin's north. The army has suffered major losses at the hands of Islamist insurgents near the borders with Niger and Burkina Faso. The coup failed after Nigeria sent fighter jets to force the mutineers out of a military base and state broadcast facilities at the request of President Talon. Heading the wanted list is Lieutenant Colonel Pascal Tigri, a former commander of an elite military unit. Beninese officials have said he's in hiding in Lomé.
Obi my son Sam no be kwa kopie mu e wo Zimbabwe ne okopie mu e wo hono ma eniji sam e na esi wo hono pa yenuanu ma no wo na duafi ana se wona na wo kyere aban kukum mekere eye prisoners ene ne yaban no afa adoye kwan so eyi emu 4,000 say wade won ho e de free aban ensem won kwa abontene na boni a wodi ya enu ntie ma omo bekyere aban kukuma na se de omo kowie na duafie no hwe no wankodi bi mu nkobo wonmra said yes na efata.
Monday, under a presidential amnesty in a bid to ease overcrowding in the country's jails.
The 2026 amnesty is targeted and merit-based, focusing on vulnerable groups and those who have demonstrated significant progress in their rehabilitation.
Ziambi says the action reflects a commitment to restorative justice and national compassion, and that it didn't include prisoners convicted of serious crimes. 223 women are among those to be released. I learned a lot during my incarceration, including making bags and key holders, and now drug dealing is a thing of the past. I also reshaped my life and can now do vegetable gardening and rear chickens. I really appreciate the amnesty program. The amnesty did not include those convicted of contravening the Maintenance of Peace and Order Act, a charge used in the past against protesters and political opposition. There's been much anger in Zimbabwe over proposed changes to the constitution.
Adeshimamba yetu akasi nesoa na sesi an yesen bepiem ewo man Ghana mu association nso ma mesa kasi obenya bi ahwe wa abefo ntenten video isu nyina Facebook ya Ashanti Prime TV, YouTube ya Ashanti Prime TV na TikTok nso ya Ashanti Prime TV usha no comment an no apia so ede ama wonua no no nso enya bi ahwe no wa like enso ede amaye ense mawie me de besom mo se Kaseɛ no na ɛdɔɔso ye di makutini bi enie emprempren ya de aga na ye mampanyi His Excellency John Dramani Mahama wo eye Tanzania omoto ato adwena sere adwene ahwe kwan ya bibre mama na mahodo nyina ebetumpom san so ene ye edwadifuo enkabom kuedin eda omoso eye guta eye Ghana Union of Traders eye association mo president eye Clement Boatin wonwunyamfo yi enso ekasa yensemwe ne nsema wodo pie kan and I'm the best some say prime area Premotobre Kaseɛ me am je penny eje bre ebe pense Kaseɛ de mam so hia me abonte din abebo magil so and MS now start makra obia